Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Welcome to the February 26, 2024 meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit Board of Directors. Please call the
Director Brewer.
Present.
Director Budge.
Here.
Director Daniels.
here.
Director Hume. Is absent. Director Jennings.
Here.
Director Kaplan.
Here.
Director Kozlowski.
Here.
Director Maple.
Here.
Director Cerna.
Here.
Director Singh Allen.
Here.
Director Vang.
Here.
And Chair Kennedy.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum at 10 votes, and this meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Thursday, February 29th at 2 p.m. and Saturday, March 2nd at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Written public comment received by 1 o'clock will be provided to the board and will become part of the record. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. The time allowed for public comment is 2 with a maximum of 3 minutes and is at the chair's discretion. The timer will chime when you have 30 seconds remaining and then again when your time is up.
Thank you very much. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, that takes us to our consent calendar where we have items 2.1 through 2.12. Is there any member of the board that has questions at this time or would like to remove anything from consent?
I'll move approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Kozlowski and a second by Director Budge. Is there any member of the public that has anything to address the board on consent? I have no cards.
Oh, we just got one.
We have Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Can we?
And also, real quick, can I make a correction? For the quorum, we actually had 11 votes, not 10.
Thank you. Do you need a microphone, Jeffrey?
Yeah, since I don't see, I guess I'm coming back up here.
Okay.
Oh, there's the mic. Board members, my first comment is related to what you got as your action minutes. I find it very educational to read through those because I thought I was at that meeting, but I didn't see all the activity that I see reported in the minutes. So encourage that, and I encourage Blum that's not here, as far as the dealing with the other reports, special reports going out, and to Phil Cerna, I know there's another issue going on with since we now no longer have Kathy Sagan or Katie Vanzuela as part of the board. I'm wondering if that region is who in the city is going to cover that area to things that do happen and change. But my primary concern is that public comment is getting to be much, much more limited and having very little significant value unless you are physically here. And that is getting far more difficult to have happen these days. That's my public comment.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Was that actually on an item on the agenda, Jeffrey?
I was speaking about the 2.1, the
Okay.
approval of the action summary.
Okay.
And saying that
I got it.
more detail is better in there than you can read on here. And trying to read
I got it, Henry. I mean, Jeffrey.
see much of the things that you have on here for items.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no others, we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item, please.
The next item is 3.1, Community Transit Champion Recognition Program, and Deborah Salinas will present this item.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm pleased to present our final two Community Transit Champions of 2023. And as a reminder, especially for our new board members, they were selected last year by SACRT Board and Management based on their personal role in supporting SACRT and the community in the respective districts. I would first like to recognize Keith Smothers, who was nominated by SACRT Director Patrick Hume for his tireless work in promoting the personal and public benefits of transit and practicing what he preaches. I'm going to speak for him a little bit. 5 years ago, Smothers, who lives in Elk Grove and works downtown, decided that he had enough of driving a congested Highway 99 and switched to taking light rail to make his daily life and commute much more enjoyable and healthier. Keith, if you don't mind, step forward. We'll take some photos. And Henry, if you can come forward. Do you mind stepping in?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, in the absence of Supervisor Hume, how about if the members from Elk Grove join the picture? Awesome. Come on. I meet you.
Thank you, Director Budge. How are you? I promise this is the only one tonight. There's only one tonight, so. Where do you want me? Right in between. We're going to be, safe by the door.
Chair.
That's what we need him.
There you go.
Here, everyone step forward so we don't have to fight the chairs. We're just watching that right now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, all right. Everyone look at me. Okay, ready? One more. Wait, okay, wait. Can't talk. Okay, right here with me. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. I didn't know tonight was going to be so entertaining. Thank you.
I'm happy we run a transit district a little better than we take photos.
We're working on that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next I would also like to recognize Miguel Barraza, who was nominated by Director Katie Maple for being a voice for Sacramentans who don't own cars or who are elderly or disabled, using his lived experience to advocate. Miguel could not be here tonight. He is traveling. However, I will read a statement from him if you don't mind. Good afternoon. I'm Miguel Barraza. Thank you to Deborah, Tony, and the Transit Authority. Special thanks to Vice Mayor Maple for the nomination. I want to continue to be the best part of SACRT, like an operator tells me when I board his bus. So that concludes this portion of tonight. Thank you, everyone. I will be looking for all of you for 2024, so get ready. That's coming up soon. And thank you for all the directors who participated. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, and to our staff, let's continue to do this. I admit I was one of them that was not particularly good at responding, but I think that seeing this and recognizing the importance of our writers, I think this is a great thing, and we need to do more of it. And we board members need to be better at nominating people, myself included. So thank you very much. That takes us to public addressing the board on matters not on the agenda. I do have some cards. First is Robert Copeland.
Well, let me say, ACE has about 5 or 6 chapters in California. Sacramento's the only one that was helping out with transit here. Rest will do mostly housing. L.A., San Diego, Alameda County, and Contra Costa County. They do mostly housing. We do both. Because RT is so messed up here in Sacramento, in my opinion. You can't even get the water fountain to work. Outside hallway, it's not working. And my last comment, why don't you, Henry Lee or any staff member do town halls at senior centers, community centers? We want people to ride transit, right? So you have to do your job too. And you're fumbling the football. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Helen O'Connell.
Good evening,
Hello, Helen.
RT Board. It's been a while. I have a situation that is trying to be addressed, but I thought the board should be aware that some people are getting told that our RT Go customers and are serviced by UServe, they're being told that if there's like two people, a client and a PCA, they have to pay $10 a trip. And this is different than RT Go's fare structure. Some of my friends that had this happen didn't know where to go, who to talk to, and I've gotten some information, so I'm going to follow that up. But I thought the board should know that UServe was getting like 2 and 3 times payment for a ride that should only be $5. Or if there's 3 people, it would be $10. But they were charging $10 for 2 people, $15 for 3 people, and my friends were taking the rides because they had to get somewhere. I'm going to try to get back to people so that they can have their concerns addressed through the proper channels. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. As you know, we can't go back and forth on an item that's not on the agenda, but Mr. Lee, will you make sure that the proper follow-up, including properly educating all RT staff as to what our structure is in case ever asked? Thank you. Jeffrey Tardigia.
You may not be able to see me, but can you hear me?
We have a mic coming here, Jeffrey.
Well, I will piggyback onto Helen, and will direct you that you probably need to talk to Courtney in regards to this, because one of the things he discovered at the last MAC meeting was for those that have the special pass, where for 60 rides of there, and then you can use public transportation, the new system may not recognize this. I had the direct experience today where I went to the Sac Valley station and neither one of the Connect cards were working. So I brought a friend, but Connect card did not acknowledge and allow me to do anything on the Connect card, because one of them it's out of service because of the rebuilding of the Sac Valley station. The other one, simply is blank screen. You can't even on the audio part get it to do anything other than say step 2 or whatnot. So it is a problem that when you bring this new system forward for the state, and I know Sacramento was working on it quite diligently on it, is 2 things that are going to be in the Connect card for the buses. You could never put 2 people on to pay. You just didn't have getting the drivers to understand what they needed to change on their display so that you could physically do this. The second thing I'm going to bring to the attention of the board is I have been speaking about 5th and L Street for some time in regards to the number of buses that are there and to the problem with the corner. Well, for the last week, there has been a barrier up there, and that's what I was referring to. Phil is wondering whether he had heard about any of that from and RT has been informed about why there is a barrier now up at the corner of 5th and L Street. I didn't see today to see whether it had finally been taken down, but I do know there's been concerns about buses parked there and that you have vehicles making a right turn from 2 lanes over to turn onto 5th Street. So it's been an unfortunate place. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to follow up with General Manager Lee. Can you also add that to your to-do list in terms of addressing the concerns about barriers. I'm thinking it might be temporary traffic reassignment when there are events at Golden One, but I'm not sure.
Yes, there's some temporary stuff, but I would like to just thank Aaron for bringing that issue to the board. Staff already been working on that with Mac and some riders, because we found a technical issue between the user, the private service provider, and the EcoLand, which is a private scheduling company or software. They had some technical glitch. So we already start to reach out to riders to credit them, in this incident, and we will try to make sure address this issue completely soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
I'm actually going to, we're now down to new business, and I'm going to reorder because of a request of a board member, and we will take out of order, we will take 7.2 next. Sorry for no warning there, Olga.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just wait till there it is. Okay. So next slide, Adam, please. So good evening. The SACRT Board of Directors established a board structure ad hoc committee in late 2022 to discuss the possibility of adding one seat for Elk Grove and addressing the loss of the county's voting power due to a change in the board's voting structure that took effect January 1st of 2022. On January 1, 2022, the SACRT Board of Directors voting structure changed from a weighted voting structure to a one-person, one-vote structure. Before this change, the county had 33% of the vote under weighted voting, and the city of Sacramento had 27% of the vote. After January 1, 2022, the city of Sacramento had 36% of the vote, and the county had 27% of the vote, because the city has 4 seats on the board and the county has 3 seats on the board. In early 2023, based on the ad hoc committee's work, the board voted to move forward with adding 1 seat for the city of Elk Grove, but didn't address the county's issue with the new imbalance and decided to defer the issue to 2024. In late 2023, the SACRT Board of Directors reconvened the Board Composition Ad Hoc Committee to review the board structure and determine whether the structure needed to be modified to address the county's concern. The committee met 3 times. The first time was on December 6th to review the current board structure. At that meeting, staff was directed to review the structure of SACRT's peer agencies and report back with some potential options for restructuring the SACRT board. On January 16th, the committee reconvened, and staff provided an overview of the board structure of 11 of our peer agencies. Based on that review, the board of directors, the ad hoc committee directed staff to go back and develop options for the committee to consider for restructuring the board's current composition. The ad hoc committee reconvened on February 16th to review the options presented by staff for consideration by the committee. Because this is a board structure matter, any changes to the structure are solely a board decision. Consequently, while staff has been providing options to the ad hoc committee per the clear direction of the committee, staff has not provided recommendations. Next slide, please. So when the committee convened on January 16th, staff provided an overview of the various models that SACRT's peer transit agencies in California have for their governing boards. 3 general models emerged. The first is the selection committee model, where the governing board membership is capped at a certain number of members, and the member jurisdictions take turns sitting on the board. The second model is the everyone gets a seat model, where every every jurisdiction gets at least one seat, and there's no cap on the number of seats allotted for the board. And finally, the third model is a population-based model where seats are allocated and then reallocated periodically based on population shifts. Under this model, member jurisdictions could see an increase or decrease over time in the number of seats allocated to the jurisdiction based on shifts of population. This model also caps the total number of seats the board can have. The ad hoc committee initially liked this population-based reapportionment model and asked staff to do some additional research. Ultimately, the ad hoc committee settled on an everybody gets a seat model with some modifications. Next slide, please. Prior to the February 16th committee meeting, as staff worked on developing options for the ad hoc committee to consider, Vice Chair Jennings provided staff with an analysis prepared by City of Sacramento staff, providing a justification for the establishment of a 15-member cap, with the city and county each having 4 seats, the City of Elk Grove having 2 seats, and all other jurisdictions having 1 seat. And if you look at the table, it illustrates a point I made at the beginning of the presentation, and that is that under the current structure, the county having 3 seats and the city having 4 seats, the county's relative voting power on the board is significantly less than the city's, despite representing a slightly larger percentage of the population within the district. Regardless of what option the board ultimately selects, the ad hoc committee expressed a strong desire to correct the imbalance and at a minimum ensure that the city and the county have the same number of seats. This 15-member option was presented to the ad hoc committee. Under the city's proposed option, the City of Sacramento and the county would each have 27% of the vote. The ad hoc committee did not support that option. However, Vice Chair Jennings has requested that staff provide you with the chart you see up on the screen for consideration as the board discusses options. Next slide, please. When the ad hoc committee met on February 16th, they considered 3 options for modifying the board structure with the goal of leveling the imbalance created by the shift from weighted voting to 1 member, 1 vote structure, while not diminishing the relative strength of the voting strength of the other jurisdictions with only 1 seat. The first option would be to cap the current number of members to 11 members, and 6 votes under this model. 6 votes would be required to approve any item regardless of the number of members present. And under that model, the city, the county, and Elk Grove, the City of Sacramento, the county, and Elk Grove would each have 2 seats. The cities of Citrus Heights, Folsom, and Rancho Cordova would each have 1 seat, and then there would be 2 additional seats remaining that could go to the City of Galt and the City of West Sacramento, the City of Galt because they have asked to annex into the district, and the City of West Sacramento because they might join the district due to the streetcar project. Option 2 would cap the total number of board members at 13, which would require 7 affirmative votes for any action to take place. And under this one, the city and the county, City of Sacramento and the county would each have 3 seats. The City of Elk Grove would have 2 seats, and everyone else would have 1 seat. Option 3 is the option proposed by the City of Sacramento, and it would cap the total number of seats at 15, with 8 affirmative votes being required to approve any item, regardless of the number of members present. And under that one, the City of Sacramento and the county would each have 4 seats. City of Elk Grove would have 2 seats. Everyone else would have 1 seat. And after thoroughly discussing the options, the ad hoc committee voted 6-1 to recommend to the full board option 2. And to clarify, staff's understanding is that the 13-member cap would not be incorporated into our enabling act, but instead would serve as a guide to the cap that was agreed to for each jurisdiction.
Okay, so can I stop you there?
Sure.
Just because, right here.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, just because.
Yeah.
Because I've heard this 4 times and I'm already confused.
Yeah.
But what, in a nutshell, what that is that we're not. In option 2, it's not capping it for the future at 13. It's just 13 now based upon the allotment of.
Right.
members
Correct.
from each jurisdiction.
Correct.
So, for example, should we, approve number 2 then, and then 2 more jurisdictions were to come in, we'd end up being a 15-member board the way this is written now, correct?
Yeah, potentially, right,
Okay.
correct.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Just wanted to clarity. Yes, sir.
Can I follow up on that? So, so in essence, the only difference between options 2 and 3 is the city of Sacramento is recommending now to acknowledge those 2 other jurisdictions. Is that correct?
That's basically it. I mean, you would still, in reality, if it happened tomorrow, you still would only have an 11-member board because Galt and West Sacramento have not joined. But they would be able to join, then it would go up to a 13-member board. So the idea, that's why we're acknowledging it at 13, because the idea is that these 2 jurisdictions will likely join in the next, in the very near future. But the current, so just to clarify, currently our Enabling Act allows, it does not have a cap. And so any jurisdiction that joins gets a seat. And so we want to preserve, I think the ad hoc committee wants to preserve that for future growth.
Got it. Thank you.
You can
Mr. Chair.
continue and, oh, yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Your point about getting confused.
Yeah.
So, based on having attended all these meetings, I'm confused by the use of the word cap, because if we adopt, as the committee recommended, this 13-member board, currently there are 11 members. I mean, under this structure, there would be 11 members. And so really the cap is 13, because Galt and West Sacramento would bring it up to the 13. So we would be requesting the Enabling Act to cap it at 13.
That is how I understood our ad hoc committee vote to be as well.
Yes.
And if I can just pile on to the confusion, I think I agree with that. And the change, to Mr. Cerna's point, would be that you would have a 11-member board, and each, the city and county of Sacramento would have 4 votes each, that would go down to 3 votes should those other 2 jurisdictions join in.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's not what we voted on.
Okay. So I'll pile
Sorry,
on
Pat.
the confusion. That is not
Mr.
what we
Kozlowski.
discussed. What we discussed is that a max 13-member board is option number 2, with 3 votes each for Sacramento City and County,
Right.
2 for Elk Grove, and 1 for each of the other cities, eventually including West Sac and Galt potentially. The 15-member board option would be the city of Sacramento and Sacramento City having, or the county and the city each having 4 votes, the rest being the same.
Thank you for the clarification. That's exactly the way I remember it. Yeah. Yeah.
But we voted for the 13 members.
That's what we're saying. That's what Mr.
Thank you,
Kozlowski
Mike.
said.
So if that is what,
If you want to really see this happen, watch the county supervisors meeting.
yeah,
The interruption thing.
yeah. No, it's fine.
The way it's described on the screen is correct. It's just I think the confusion
is the
entered
cap.
by saying that it's not a cap, when
Okay.
in fact that was what we discussed.
Okay, so if that is the case, then just something that staff would like the committee to consider is that if it is a hard cap at 13, and each jurisdiction, the city and the county each get 3, and Elk Grove gets 2, et cetera. Then if any other, because we do have a lot of other jurisdictions out there that could potentially join us, because under our Enabling Act, we can annex like the city of Roseville. And so it would make it hard to do that. We'd have to go back and.
They should be encouraged to join before West Sac or Galt then.
Okay, so what you're saying is that staff's preference would be not to put a cap in the enabling legislation in order to provide flexibility and avoid the necessity of having to go back and do legislation again should the circumstances change.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Well, then use the word ceiling instead of cap. Just
I
say
think-
currently the ceiling would potentially be 13 members.
I think ultimately all we're really establishing is that the city and the county would each have 3 votes, Elk Grove 2,
Correct.
and any other city member would have 1. Whatever
Yeah.
that total number is what that total is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
And Mike's accurate because, I mean, obviously Rancho and Folsom are growing by leaps and bounds every year, and it'll obviously take us a while to get to 180,000, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're all saying the same thing differently.
I think so too. But in any event, if the board does move to go in whatever direction the board chooses to go, staff will work with our state lobbyist to pursue a legislative change to our Enabling Act. And to add kind of a sense of urgency to all this, if we want to get anything to be effective January 1 of 2025, this is the board meeting to make that decision, to give us direction so that we could pursue legislation for this year.
Okay.
And with that, we can answer staff's here to answer any questions, and I hand it back to the chair for your discussion.
Thank you very much. I'm looking to my right.
Can I pile on?
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you. So, City of Sacramento is very pleased to be a member of this wonderful board and has had 4 seats on this board for a long time. To come down to 3, we think is an injustice to the work that we do together. And that's why the proposal that we put on the table allows the county to come up to where the city is, because we believe it should do that. And it allows everybody else to pretty much stay where is being proposed. And so while the committee didn't vote for that, we still think that's a proposal. We don't understand why we would lose a member and then have to then try to figure out how to get representation that we've had all along. So I'm just putting that out there because I want to make sure people understand why the city has that. And I see a lot of different looks around the room on that proposal, but it's been that way for, and I can't go back in history because I don't have that history, but it's been that way for a long time. And so other than the fact that we're changing it, I don't understand why we're now changing it so that Sacramento, the city of Sacramento, goes from 4 to 3. So I just want to kind of put that on for discussion purposes because there's no justification. We have justification as to how many it takes to get 1, how many it takes to have 2, how many it takes to have more. But we don't have a justification for how do you lose a seat that you already have. And so I'd like that to be explained while we're talking.
I think I have my own answer, but Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. All right, now you have confused me, Director Jennings. Because I'm looking at the 13-member recommendation, and then I'm looking at the chart that I think came from the city. So there are 2, I just want to make clear, there are 2 different 13-member suggestions, one that has 4 and 4 city and county, and one that has 3 and 3 city and county?
So, no. The ad hoc committee has one recommendation, which is a 13-member board with 3, 3, and 2, and then 1, 1, 1. The city of Sacramento did their own analysis and provided it to us, and that's the chart you're looking at. And that is their analysis, which we would hope the city would speak to because it is their chart.
And the alternative proposal was for a 15-member board,
Right.
where the city and county would have 4 votes each, and then the remainder would be the same.
But so to Director Jennings' point, though, why couldn't we go with, again, looking at the matrix here from the city, with option 4, that gets us to 13, and if I heard you correct, Olga, there wouldn't be anything that would prohibit us from later extending membership to West Sacramento and Galt, correct?
Right. Currently, our Enabling Act allows for the addition of additional jurisdictions who would join, and they would get 1 seat for the Enabling Act.
And again, the only distinction I see between the matrix option 4 and the committee's recommendation for a 13-member board is that instead of 3 and 3, it'd be 4 and 4. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess I'd like to hear from committee members as to why there's any benefit to 3 and 3 versus 4 and 4.
Would you like me to weigh in on this one? Sure. All right. Well, there's only the discrete situation that we have spent 2 cycles while I've been on this committee talking about the composition of the voting structure, and we acknowledged that Elk Grove was large enough that they deserved a little bit more representation. And there was a great deal of discussion about the city and county having very similar populations and different representation, which we did not address. Ended up not addressing in the last cycle. As a member from Folsom, raising the number of voting positions on this board, it doesn't make a gigantic difference, but it does make an actual measurable difference in the influence that my vote holds. And that's true for Rancho Cordova and Citrus Heights, everybody who has a single vote, and also for Elk Grove, who has just 2. So it is really a question of diminishing everyone else's vote by increasing 1 vote for the county, or keeping it relatively stable and diminishing the Sacramento City vote by reducing theirs to 3. It's, I have to take a selfish view occasionally, and in this instance, by making more voting members, you're diminishing the value of the individual votes. And thus, if we were going to do that, we dismissed the idea of voting by population once upon a time, but all we're doing is reintroducing it.
Can I just follow up on that?
Sure, absolutely.
So I understand that position, but then when you, again, looking at the table that the city provided, even if you compare option 4, which would add an additional seat for both the city and or for the county, and bring it up to 4, commensurate with the city here. If you look at the percentage vote versus the percentage population, let's look at Elk Grove, you'd still have, at 2 members, 15% of the vote, even though it's 11% of the population. If you looked at the 4 and 4 model again for city and county, city has 32%, but would have 31% of the vote. If you look at the county, population's 37%, and the percent of the vote would be 31%. So in all 3 instances, there still is a bit of a disparity between the percentage vote by those 3 jurisdictions and the population. So I guess that's. I understand your point, but if we are going to acknowledge and respect kind of the influence that population has on the makeup of this board, I can see option 4 making a lot more sense, quite frankly, because it gets us towards a little more parity with population. Does that make sense?
Chair?
Yes.
So hate to throw a monkey wrench, being this my very first RT board meeting. But going off of Director Cerna's conversation, I don't know if the ad hoc committee ever discussed a potential rotating seat, because on several boards that I'm on, cities rotate representation. And if you look at Folsom, Citrus Heights, and Rancho Cordova, of course, if we go to option 4, they're slightly overrepresented. But if you bring in West Sac and Galt, they would be extremely overrepresented. And so it may make sense to have a potential, look at a 13 board model where the smaller cities have a rotating seat basis, which is what happens at a ton of other boards and commissions I'm on. I don't know if that was discussed in the ad hoc committee. It was discussed, because that is a model that there are some transit agencies that are structured that way. Some of the large ones, particularly like LA Metro, is structured that way. But the committee did not like that idea.
And I would have to say that Rancho Cordova would strongly protest. We get to sit on LAFCO once about every 10 years.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Mr. Daniels first.
Yeah, thank you. Just to the brunt of it, the board does not, the ad hoc committee, I should say, doesn't support a 15-member board. So that's one of the main reasons about not increasing the county's vote. But then I'll also remind everybody that that option was here. That option was in this room a couple of months back, and the city unanimously did not support that. And so I don't understand why they want to support it now. Well, I do understand. And so that ship sailed. And I think we need to move forward. I mean, again, we're 11 of us now or whatever, and we're battling this battle, just on structure. And so adding more and more people just creates a bigger and bigger argument sometimes and convolutes things. And so I'm prepared to move a motion, but I'll wait a minute, but because I know Supervisor Hume wants to speak at least, and some others. But we don't want a 15-member board, and the idea of the county having another seat was proposed months back, and that idea was disregarded.
Mr. Hume.
Thank you, Chair. That was the first point I was going to make, was simply to kind of take this down in bite sizes. Do you support a 15-member board or not? And if the answer to that is no, then the question becomes, do you want to compose the board of its final makeup should those other two jurisdictions be added, or do you want to do it where essentially there would be an extra seat now and then a seat would get stripped away when those other jurisdictions come on board? So I think the threshold question is 15-member or 13-member.
Thank you. And I'll just take a stab, Vice Chair Jennings, at answering your question as far as what's the justification for taking a seat away. I think that we're comparing apples and oranges when you ask that question, because you're comparing a weighted system to a non-weighted system. So, in the weighted system, you can have 10 members as long as you still have the same percentage of votes. It doesn't matter how many members you have. Whereas when you're a one vote, one member, that entirely changes the situation. So, when it was 4 votes, you still had less voting power, if you will, than the county's 3 voting members. That's no longer the case now, and I think so. We're not really taking anything away under this system. We're actually seeking for greater parity. That's my stab at answering your question, which is fair.
I share my concurrence with Chair Kennedy and also Director Budge. In our ad hoc committees, the bigger discussion was, do we want this to be a 15-member body? And then after that, we really discussed the parity and leveling the playing field with some of the smaller cities as population grows. I mean, the city of Elk Grove is pushing 200,000 probably by next year or year after. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Do we have any public comment on this? I believe I don't have any cards on it. I do not.
Chair Kennedy, I just had a comment. Sorry.
Where's the voice coming from?
Over here.
Okay.
Sorry, I first time using this, so let me know if it's on. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. I just first wanted to just thank staff and the ad hoc committee really for meeting. I think y'all met like 3 times to get to this moment. So really just want to say thank you for your hard work, even though I may not be in alignment with the recommendation on the table. I also just want to say I appreciate Supervisor Cerna's comment. For me, I think if this was a proportional voting based on population, I think both county and city will have 4 votes. And so I really appreciate Councilmember Jennings' proposal on the table, the counter proposal on the table, because I believe it accommodates the growing jurisdiction and also ensures that we don't dilute the large population in the city and the county. I know I think one of the board member asked us the question, are we okay with a 13 or 15 seat? For me, I'm okay with the 15 seat because we are a Sacramento Regional Board. And I think that is okay. I think I just wanted to put that on record, and I would support the 15-member seat for SAC-RT, and really hoping that my colleagues would vote for the proposal the counter proposal on the table with 4 votes from the county and 4 votes from the city. So just wanted to make sure that I put that on record. Thank you so much.
Okay, Director Maple.
Thank you, Chair, and want to echo the comments of my colleagues. I share the same concerns as Director Jennings, and also I believe I'm on, as many of us are, on a lot of different boards. And yes, it can be more challenging at times when you have more people, no doubt. More cooks in the kitchen can make it a challenge. But I also think having more voices in the room makes it better. And so I would also be supportive of a 15-member board. I think having more representation is always better for the people, makes our systems better. And I would support, having 4 members for both the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. All right, seeing no more, we have no public comment on this item, so I will entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we authorize the general manager to move forward with what's required to create the 13-member board that includes the City of Sacramento with 3 seats, Sacramento County with 3, Elk Grove 2, Citrus Heights 1, Folsom 1, and Cordova 1, with the capacity to add 2 additional jurisdictions, West Sac and Galt, in the future.
Second.
Okay, we have, yes.
I'd like to introduce a substitute motion.
Okay.
Substitute motion would be to go with a 13-member board with the composition as it's described in the table under option 4, to which I provided some comment earlier and asked for a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a substitute motion. Is there anyone who'd like to speak to the motion? All right. So for the substitute motion, it is what is referred to as option 4 on the table in the handout. And with that, is there anybody has any questions before we call for a vote? All right. For the substitute motion, all those in favor, well, we're going to do a roll call vote. Will you call the roll?
Nice catch.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, that was moved by Cerna and seconded by Vang.
Correct.
And Director Brewer.
No.
Director Budge.
No.
Director Daniels.
No.
Director Hume.
No.
Director Jennings.
Yes.
Director Kaplan.
Yes.
Director Kozlowski.
No.
Director Maple.
Yes.
Director Cerna.
Yes.
Director Singh Allen.
No?
Director Vang.
Yes.
And Chair Kennedy.
No.
Great.
Motion fails.
Okay, that takes us to the underlying motion, which was made by Director Daniels, seconded by Director Kozlowski. Please call the roll.
Director Brewer.
Yes.
Director Budge.
Yes.
Director Daniels.
Aye.
Director Hume.
Aye.
Director Jennings.
No.
Director Kaplan.
Abstain.
Director Kozlowski.
Yes.
Director Maple.
No.
Director Cerna.
No.
Director Singh Allen.
Yes.
Director Vang.
No.
And Chair Kennedy.
Aye.
Point of order.
Yes.
What is the grounds for an abstention in this particular
It would be a
situation?
no vote.
Okay.
Motion passes with 7 votes.
Thank you. All right. Healthy discussion. I appreciate it, everybody. We're going to now go back to item number 7.1.
Good afternoon. Welcome our newest board member, Director Lisa Kaplan. Thank you. We're so excited to have you.
Already causing trouble.
Per discussions from last board meeting, I would like to give a brief overview to the board and the public regarding our current strategic priorities, major capital project progress, and the upcoming initiatives in 2024 and beyond. Next slide. Okay. Last month, we had the pleasure of hosting Congresswoman Matsui to discuss our strategic priorities. The Congresswoman has been a long-time champion of SACRT and was instrumental in helping us secure hundreds of million dollars of COVID fund, up to $250 million actually. Following the meeting, the Congresswoman shared above remark about her visit with SACRT. We really appreciate that. So this is a snapshot of SACRT. We are the largest transit provider in the 6-county capital region, carrying over 90% of the region's ridership, with 1,500 dedicated employees, $250 million operating budget, and $1.9 billion capital budget in fiscal year 2024. Our employees are our most important asset. We cultivate a highly diverse and inclusive culture and fostered a highly professional, safe, collaborative, fair, and respectful work environment. Our employee satisfaction surveys show an overall 80% employee satisfaction rating in the last 3 years, which is much higher than industry average. Majority of our employees participated in the surveys, and over 92% of employees this year, actually the last month, in the survey agreed with the statement, overall, I'm happy at work, 92%. Then we also have a highly diverse and dependent rider profile with over 80% customer satisfactions in recent years, which is also much higher than industry average. So next two slides, this slide, the next slide, will show just a few of our 2023 accomplishments. First, we saw a substantial improvement in our ridership recovery with a 22% increase over 2022. We also have been working hard and effective to apply for competitive grants to advance our capital projects, and were able to secure nearly $160 million competitive grants in 2023. We launched a new service in a partnership with UC Davis Health express route to Elk Grove, and hired over 300 new employees in 2023 alone. Next slide, please. We will be kicking off many new initiatives in 2024, such as beginning to operate new low-floor light rail vehicles in both Gold and Green lines, and a comprehensive operational analysis similar to Sacramento Forward project. Also, we will partner with SACOG to use $1 million in SB 125 to plan and envision our future expansions, among other initiatives. We have been making substantial progress towards meeting our zero-emission targets. While we have a big challenge with over 600 vehicles needing replacement, 2024 will be a year of action. And we will be undertaking a hydrogen feasibility study and a business plan to ensure wise investment in these new technologies. Finally, we will be applying for $110 million low federal grants for our bus facilities and new ZEV buses. Now, let's look at our major capital projects with an estimated value of $6 billion in next 5 to 15 years. Several questions were asked regarding this in last board meeting. This chart only shows 12 important projects. The complete list has over 100 capital projects. As I mentioned earlier, we have over $1.9 billion in approved capital projects in FY24, of which approximately $900 million have been secured. Our light rail modernization remains our highest priority, as well as our zero-emission transition, BRTs, bus rapid transit, and streetcar, along with other capital projects. As we evaluate existing and new capital projects, there are a number of criteria we normally consider, but the most important considerations are funding availability, ridership, efficiency, GHG reduction, and equity. In the following slides, I will break our major capital projects into 3 categories: in planning stage, design stage, and construction stage. The first set of projects are in their planning stage. First, We are partnering with the city of Elk Grove to study a blue line extension, connecting to tens of thousands new housing and the planned zoo. Last year, thanks to the leadership of Director Hume, St. Allen, and Brewer, we received a $500,000 grant to locate this project further. In the alternative analysis, we will be evaluating both BRT and light rail options. Then, the Green Line extension to the airport is a long-envisioned critical project. I have recently briefed Director Serra, Director Kaplan, and Vice Chair Jennings about this critical project and its progress, and our options between light rail or BRT. Thanks to their support and thanks to the board great vision, all of us are keeping an open mind on either options. Timing is of the essence because 2/3 of the extension alignment, if you look at that alignment, is located within privately held parcels. By 2029, we have to either relinquish those parcels to private holders or to maintain those parcels, which will be very expensive.
Mr. Chair, can I interrupt real quick? I want to understand that, what you just said, Mr. Lee. Does that apply to all current IODs?
Yes.
Okay. So when did they have?
2029.
And what is the triggering event that would cause that?
That's the deadline, set it when we actually purchase those or, acquire those more than 20 years ago.
And they automatically go back?
Yes.
In fee title to the original?
Either ultimately go back or we will be responsible for maintaining that.
Okay.
And when we're maintaining that, then we're going to have a lot more responsibilities than the private holders.
That's why I'm getting clarification on it. It's a pretty big deal.
So that's the essence, that's the urgency. That's why I want to point that out.
Seeing as it's 2024, yeah.
Then this slide, we have been working with SACOG and many partners to identify 5 to 10 major BRT routes along regional strategic corridors. Stockton Boulevard is the first BRT under development in Sacramento. Planning and design tasks are fully funded. Total cost for the project is estimated at $75 million. Thanks to Chair Kennedy and Director Maple for their strong support on this monumental project because this is within their jurisdiction. The project is now getting lots of attentions and moving forward smoothly. In addition to Stockton Boulevard, SAC-RT will be furthering the BRT corridor with our partners and other stakeholders, as you can see. Let's move back one slide, Adam. Yeah. Next slide. I think we cut one slide. Okay. So we have a slide to talk about other BRTs. Then we know that the best way to get people to ride transit is a complementary smart growth. We are actively seeking ways to transform our existing light rail stations, such as Meadville, Power Inn, and the Florin light rail stations, into ones that support affordable housing and grow our ridership. Recently, I had a great conversation with Director Mai Van about Meadville and how to better coordinate with the private partners who are already building affordable housing near this station. Florin TOD is a 20-acre mixed development initiative. It's really large. And we have partnered with University of Texas, ULI, and others to develop a master plan, including proposed residential units, housing unit, for up to 922 housing units, 47,000 square feet of retail spaces, and a 3-acre park. Beautiful park. So looking to set us up for transit-oriented future, we're undertaking a major facility expansion master plan with a potential $110 million investment. The Home Road Light Rail Station is an infill station along the Gold Line in Rancho Cordova. Having already completed environmental study last year, and thanks to Director Budge's leadership, we have identified $1.5 million in impact fee to begin design the station this year. We also plan to apply for up to $15 million for construction funding this year. Then the next set of projects have moved into the design phase. First, the reimagined streetcar project. When we call streetcar, it's really light rail project. It's well underway with revised environmental study being wrapped up. We currently have secured over $130 million, and are hoping to secure additional $20 million. Since Sacramento assumed ownership of the project about a year ago, we have been on schedule and on budget for the project, diligently moving it forward. Then, SVS Loop, which is Sacramento region's long-envisioned mega multimodal transportation hub in Sacramento. After years of planning, the project was awarded the first phase of the project, $25 million in state funding for us to redo the station. Finally, the last set of projects are currently under construction. Light rail modernization is a historical achievement in Sacramento's 50-year history, with a $550 million investment in our region. First, our contract with Siemens allows us to procure up to 76 modern low-floor vehicles, and we have secured funding for 45 vehicles, about 2/3 of the vehicles we needed. Second, we are renovating station platforms to accommodate new low-floor vehicles. We have 7 stations remaining to convert on the Gold Line. We will be starting constructions on the Blue Line as soon as the Gold Line is completed, and we'll be ready to run the new vehicles on the Gold Line and the Green Line later this summer. We're adding new double tracking in Folsom to operate 15-minute service between Rancho Cordova and Folsom. Thanks to Director Kozlowski and Director Budge for their strong support, this work will be completed this summer to coincide with the launch of our new vehicle services. This has been undertaken for the last 15 years. In addition to stations and vehicles, various other amenities are included in the light rail modernization program. We list up a couple of those. To reinvigorate the Watt I-80 light rail station, our busiest station that connects regional commuters in the northeast counties and the Sacramento counties, suburban areas like Central Heights, will Director Daniels dedicate his entire career for the citizens of the city. He used to be the police chief or police officer in Central Heights. We will commit to improving the safety, access, and the attractiveness of this busiest station with a $20 million investment, with funding already secured. So that station alone, for the renovation, it's $20 million. Now, as you know very well, the Dose Light Rail Station, a partnership project, is moving ahead with construction bid on street law. We will see the construction bid result next month. Thanks to the highly collaborative effort among all of our 12 board members, many community partners, and key elected officials at the state, as local, state, and federal levels, this project helped make this board, staff, and this agency stronger, more collaborative, and united than before. Even though we have been very successful in the past in securing unprecedented federal and state grant funding, we know we needed to continue to relentlessly seek more grant opportunities in the future, given we have such limited local funding. We will seek these funding opportunities listed in the slide while continuously looking for additional local funding opportunities. So, talking about the local funding opportunities, as we look towards securing additional local funding to implement our climate, housing, and transportation goals, this region has a couple of options ahead. The existing Measure A has funded dozens of projects, including the expansion of our light rail network, but there is low capital funding left anymore. STA currently is looking towards a 2026 measure that strikes the right balance. You can see the article in this slide published last week. The 2016 measure was narrowly defeated with 65.7% support. In 2022, the Citizens Initiative achieved only 44.4% support. One of the primary reasons for these defeats was that all these three measures, they all lacked enough funding for sustainable growth and transit improvements to address climate challenges. So how can we restructure a well-balanced measure in the future, focused more on sustainable growth and transit improvement to address climate change? It looks like we will have two options. I'm certain there are many other options, but two major options. One is to refine a county-wide transportation measure in 2026 to put more focus on climate change and transit improvement under STA's authority, which may still be our preferred option. And alternatively, we can consider a transit-oriented measure by using SACRT's authority to take advantage of the favorable terms from AB 1052, which approved last year by the state legislation, which gives SACRT the flexibility to place measures on the ballot for contiguous portion of the region with SACRT services, as opposed to the entire service boundary. So in and beyond 2024, we intend to expand our BRT network in key corridors in a way that will be a catalyst for affordable and transit-oriented housing development. We could begin an educational campaign surrounding a measure of this nature, and we will need to ensure that the community and the major stakeholders see the tremendous benefit of this model. Certainly, we will request champions from our board members to lead this effort. And you guys' leadership and support are the most important thing. Then, our agency's accomplishments reflect a purposeful journey towards our strategic goals. Our capital program is clear and mission-driven, moving our region where it wants to go. Sac County is uniquely positioned to drive a new climate forward measure that will bring billions of dollars to this underinvested region. We will work collaboratively and persuasively with all stakeholders to take meaningful and bold actions to unlock our region's greatest potentials. Time is of the essence due to a couple things. First, the urgency of many key and mandated projects, then combined with the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to leverage the historical hundreds of billion dollars bipartisan infrastructure funding, which will sunset in about 2 to 3 years. Hundreds of billion dollars will go to other regions if we do not have local funding. We need to find a clear path forward very soon with an eye towards driving our region's economic development and smart growth by advancing mobility, accessibility, and equity. So in closing, I really want to thank our highly innovative and motivated Sac County team members, especially EMT members, for their dedication, commitment, and top industry performance. I normally do not say something like this, to appreciate our staff, but I want to take opportunity to say that since this is the first or second meeting of this year, and certainly, sincere appreciation goes to all our board members, our union leaders, community partners like you guys, and elected officials and all other Sac County stakeholders. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to your feedback and further directions in the near future.
Thank you, Henry. Great report. Any questions? Yes, Director Budge.
Henry, it would be my request that, setting aside the issues of funding, that if it's truly a strategic plan, there needs to be some discussion of service to Folsom Ranch, South and East Rancho Cordova. If we're talking about the potential for Galt and West Sacramento to join the organization, just so there's a general plan that identifies how we provide that kind of service and not simply have to rely on dial-a-ride bus on demand.
Absolutely. Yeah, we already put some plan, the proposed in our plan, but with the comprehensive analysis we're going to undertake, we're going to incorporate all those key initiatives into a strategic plan. But we probably will have a workshop among our board to discuss that once we have those analysis done.
Others? Yes, Director Meeble.
Thank you, Chair. Well, first, I just want to say, wow, what an incredible amount of work, not only that is in front of us, but that has already been done. Just really incredible work by the amazing RT staff. I mean, just the amount of grant monies that we were able to get in. I've never written a grant in my life, but I know I've seen how difficult it is and how much time it takes. And so just the amount of work that goes into that is probably a lot more than the public knows. So I just really wanted to state that for the record and thank the team for all of the work that you do every day to make sure that we get these needed funds for these projects. And we hope that, in the future we can have a more dedicated source of funding ongoing. But for now, this is, I think, really the hard work and dedication of our staff making it work. So just want to say that. And I also really appreciate the detail that you put in about the various projects. Always good to get an update. I'm really particularly excited about the Stockton Boulevard BRT, obviously in part in my district. And I think it's a really wonderful project and support that fully. And also appreciate the creativity of staff and the team on looking at transit-oriented development. in some of these spaces. The Florin light rail station is in my district. It is a huge parking lot that is very underutilized and not really serving the community well. And so I really appreciate looking into the feasibility of doing that type of development there, because it addresses a few different things. One, affordable housing. We know we desperately need more housing. Two, you're creating hopefully a base of ridership, people who can live there and take the train in or take the buses. And it's good for the community too. So having more housing options in general. So just thank you, and I appreciate the report.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Any others? Yes, Director Singel.
Thank you. Excellent report. I was one of the directors that asked for some, getting an update on this, so I appreciate that it came together so quickly. Lots of great information, regional updates. We all see something here that suits our respective needs, including, of course, light rail extension to the city of Elk Grove. I am most interested in the last 2 pages here, the future funding, of course, any missed opportunities. So this is going to require, I think, all of us to assist our general manager and the team, because it all comes back to us in our respective districts and communities. So I look forward to working with you in the coming years and hopefully closing those gaps and getting to where we need to be with all of the various projects. So thank you. Excellent update.
Thank you, Director. Any others? Nope. I believe we do have one member of the public, Michael Bevins.
Hello.
Good evening.
Just Joe Public here, armchair, wannabe planner. I love the modernization. That's all good. I have some theories or some areas I'd like to talk about. One of them I heard on some other board meetings. I do watch Metro 14, by the way, all those other different board meetings.
You're the one.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
I do watch them. And one of them, I don't remember the name, was...
Our ratings are down tonight.
Yeah. I'll watch it later. Low-hanging fruit was one of the mentions said about school transit. Kids who want to get to school, maybe we should have them incorporate RT transit to get them there. I know on my school, all I can think about is it's a madhouse. I'm sure most of you realize people dropping kids off at a certain time. I don't recommend a bus going in there, but a bus nearby would be good, a bus stop. And how we incorporate that through the school districts or the school itself, how many, or if we do all high schools only, but somehow we should be able to have they already ride free, get a bus that goes to their school, or a small bus, one of those dial ride buses, or get the right amount of bus to the school. The other option I had wanted to talk about was the network, our bus network. Light rails, all that's great. I think there should be a formula or an idea. If you have a population of such and such, you should have at least a nearby bus route goes north and south. There are a lot of dead spots that I've noticed. That's where I'm at. That's just Del Paso Boulevard. There's a lot of service in North Sacramento, but on Del Paso Boulevard, the main thoroughfare there's no bus service. And there's bus service nearby, and the light rail's right there, so I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering why. The bus service could go from Del Paso Boulevard all the way up through Raleigh Boulevard and up to the neighborhoods up into Rio Linda. Just an idea. And am I done? Am I on?
Well, you can wrap up.
All right. On just Los Rios Station, we approved that. Is that going to also include the second track over the American River? It's not?
No.
Okay. Well, that should have done. We need a second track all the way through.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's all the cards I have. Thank you very much, Henry. As I will echo what my colleagues said, very thorough and helpful report. Item 7.3, please.
Item 7.3, alternate member chair appointment for Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority. And this is a chair appointment to replace Director Laloe.
Okay, who wants it? Okay, looks like the chair is going to appoint himself. It's actually, it just so you're aware, I did it for years as the alternate. I had to go to one meeting, so it's not a huge time commitment.
Actually, Chair Kennedy, you are currently an alternate, so we need a second alternate.
I'd like to nominate Director Maple.
Oh, I'm actually already on the. I just wanted to make a comment, if I may, Chair.
Well, yes.
To anyone who might be interested, it's a wonderful, wonderful board. I take the Amtrak there as we talk about the Amtrak, but I go to every meeting, so it would likely not be a great responsibility for whoever does get appointed. Thank you.
Mr. Hume's already on one for San Joaquin, so won't look that direction.
One of the new guys have to do
Sure, you could put me on. I'd have to miss it if I was an alternative because I've already got a conflicting meeting.
So that's useless.
Nobody's offering up. I'm not gonna offer up, but I got a conflicting
Okay.
meeting.
I'll take it.
Okay. Vice Chair Jennings has agreed to step up. Thank you, sir. All right, next item.
The next item is the general manager's report.
Mr. Chair, since I did a big presentation, I would like to respectfully request your permission to skip my report.
Henry, you get better in my eyes every day.
I didn't look at you.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like my objection noted for the record. I was looking forward to it.
Okay, so here's an interesting situation I've never been put in before. When we have cards on something that's not being presented, we do have 2 cards on the general manager's report, which is interesting because I don't know that anybody knew what he was going to say. But I'm going to err on the side of public participation and call Robert Copeland. Robert, you have 2 minutes to address the non-report.
Well, actually, I would like to hear this manager report, tell you the truth. I would like to hear it. Because I want to see an audit online. I think every presentation, whether the general manager report or the last one, which
Robert, can you address the board?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I would like to see every report online, every presentation, slideshow. And I should have spoke on the last one, tell you the truth, on 7.1. I would support that sales tax increase if it goes directly to RT and housing. If it goes to the freeways, forget it. As far as the meetings, I like to see it all every 2 weeks.
Robert, are you addressing the general manager's report, or are you speaking on items not on the agenda?
Meeting calendar.
Okay, all right.
I like to see it every 2 weeks, like second and the fourth Tuesday. Not one here, one there, 2 here. Doesn't make sense. The RT board is a joke. So I would say get your act together. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Jeffrey Tardigia.
Well, my comments relate to simply thank you guys, staff, for putting this out. This ends March 1st. I made sure that Chris has dealing with the FTA of best practices for bus procurement. That is one that's coming up this week. There's been several other FTA meetings. That's the Federal Transportation Committee of dealing with for incidences with operators. This is dealing with the factor of hiring, but important for the general manager. And last thing, unless you say it, Mr. Chairperson, please acknowledge the fact that we lost the first general manager of RT. He died today at 92 years of age. And so these are the things that I know for you guys is that it's important for you to keep up with the current things, and reason why I'm out there is letting you know about the things that are still missing. But I do appreciate the plan, and I really would like to see that we go after our property owners to get them on board with the fact of the reason why we need better public transportation throughout this region. As you probably well aware that I've been in many of the other systems from San Francisco, Los Angeles, and in a number of others in Europe to see what is possible. And we need to be able to set for California an example. But it means that we have to convince people why it needs to be funded. And you need to get the property owners, I believe, are the first group, because when you did that with the quote streetcar, you got people on board, and they became convinced of why transportation was needed. And I'll stop.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Mr. Chair, if Jeffrey would provide a name, we could adjourn in that person's memory.
Isn't Bill? Thank you.
Actually passed away about a week
February
and a half.
5th.
Yeah, it's been a while since he passed away.
It's about.
But the Bee put an article out a couple hours ago.
And he was actually a constituent, and he told me the story of how he and his wife and his daughter around their kitchen table designed RT's first logo. So
Oh, funny.
He was a great supporter of RT all along. Okay, that takes us to item 9.1.
The San Joaquin Powers Authority meeting summary of January 26th, and Director Hume attended.
Okay, Mr. Hume says no. 9.2.
And 9.2, the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting summary of February 21st, and Director Maples attended.
Would you have anything to add to the written materials?
Just a very quick update for my colleagues. So the biggest takeaway from that meeting actually was there have been an alarming increase in the number of unfortunate pedestrian fatalities on transit lines all over the U.S., but it's happening on the Capital Corridor track quite a bit. And so they actually discussed a group called Operation Lifesaver, which I'm sure we're aware of here at SAC RT, but I actually reached out and connected with them, and we'll invite any of my colleagues here who want to meet with them as well. It's a great organization that's doing good work. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I do have a public comment on item 9.2 from Michael Bevins.
I recently took that route to San Francisco, and it's a wonderful service. I recently also found out that it's only been one trip going to Roseville or Auburn a day. I thought it was more often than that, but I hear it's expanding. I'm wondering if we could, on SAC RT's side, offer a stop between downtown Sacramento and Roseville. There's a lot of people between those two, and a stop that would combine SAC RT and the Capital Corridor would be, I think, beneficial. There are like 3 places that could happen. Of course, our Marconi Arcade station, where I frequent, we share the tracks basically. We can easily put a station there between the two of them. Another stop is across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course, where the Roseville Road station kind of curves. There's a lot of space there. You could put a station between the two. Easy access off Winters, off I-80 for traffic. Third station would be off Raids come down across Watt Avenue. There's some space there around McClellan Air Park. You can put a transit station or a train stop, and buses could get there from the Watt I-80 station through Watt. Just a thought that of all those people that use the Capital Corridor, I would think there's a big gap of people between downtown Sacramento and Roseville. A station in that middle between SAC RT and Capital Corridor would be great. And that's all.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, reports, ideas, questions from directors, any? No? And thank you, everybody. Thank you for the members of the public that are here, and thank you for staff for all your good work. We're adjourned.